Hi traders, welcome to this demo of the StatArb version for Opulen system and a real-time correlation. This is a tweak version or a patch, so a couple of things to talk you through in terms of updates. 4th January 2017, 16:12. So let's just load a chart, and I'm just going to load the ARB v4 template to set this up quickly. Notice the first thing is it's saying chart ID up here, and then no control file created in Java interface yet. So I thought it'd be useful to add the chart ID in so that when you click on the chart you can cross-reference between the two. So at the moment we're seeing euro dollar H1 and chart ID ending 519, which is correct. So let's just set an ARB up quickly. I'm going to use DAX 40 and CAC 40 and the DAX, which is D30 on this platform, and I use one lot to configure this up. I'm just going to wait for a tick to come in, and you can now see we've got some data. So I'm just going to change the chart background to black, actually, black on white, and go to a line graph. Okay, and then I'm going to just move this back here so we can see what's going on. We've made a few amendments to this so that to try and improve the system reporting. So you'll notice here that mode no trade time frame. It's saying that because the time frame is saying there's no active time frame on which to trade, because you'll notice that the trade time frame controls here are only allowing us to trade on M30. So if I go to trade controls and then select H1, you'll see H1 gets selected, and now it's saying no trade stationary, which means the spread is stationary, the trend of the spread is stationary. We've got a mixture of a stationary condition on H4 and a rising condition on D1, which are two active trends that we're filtering on. So if I wanted to make the system trade in a stationary environment, I can select trade stationary spreads, and you'll now see the mode has changed to trade active. If I say only trade stationary spreads, it'll also go to active as well. However, if I then change the trend filtering condition so that we're just filtering on daily, the daily time frame, which puts us into a rising trend situation, then if I say only trade stationary spreads, the mode on the next tick will change to no trade, not stationary, because the effective trend is rising. So I've added a bit more functionality in for people who want to obviously get a bit more detail about that. The other thing as well, I've made some changes to the real-time correlation tool. So let's just load that up on this chart here. So I'll get rid of the grid and real-time correlation JFX, and go to the line graph. Make sure I don't have a line graph being displayed. And first of all, you'll notice that the default settings are a bit better in terms of color. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to load up the real-time correlation interface using analytical tools and click on the chart, and I'm just going to remove some of these extra pairs that I don't really want to monitor. Okay, so that's just tuning this up a little bit for us. Now, if I say only show positively correlated pairs, you'll notice that, or only negatively correlated pairs, you'll notice that has been improved significantly compared to the old version. So if I change the background on this chart as well to say black on white, that will also, and get rid of the line graph as well, apologies about that. So I say only show positives on this chart, you'll see that also now works because the system syncs into the background colour of the chart automatically. So a little bit of an improvement there for you. The other thing as well is the old, if you're in the StatArb system and you are using correlation filter, what that does is it starts scanning for global variables, So if you look at the global variable table in MT4, you'll notice that there'll be a whole section called Coral. And what we're doing now is, if we go back to our correlation indicator, notice we've got a correlation of positive thresholds and negative thresholds above 80. So you'll see here the only correlation data which gets put into the global variable table is above 80. So if I tweak these values up a bit, go to 90, then I just open and close the global variable table and scroll down to the bottom, you'll now see we've hardly got anything which is qualifying for above our positive and negative thresholds. We've got two, we've basically got the euro dollar and US dollar Swiss franc pairs which are reversed in that situation, which the only pair which qualifies. And interestingly, what we're doing now is in the interface. So if I was actually trading on some forex pairs, well, let's do that. Let's just change the actual, go back into our interface, and we'll just load up our setup. We'll go to this chart, and we've got F40 and D30. Let's just go to euro dollar and euro yen for the sake of argument. Wait for a tick to come in, just refresh the time frame to make the EA pick up those changes, that's better. Okay, so it's saying no trade stationary spreads, so let's make it trade stationary spreads. Trade active. Right, now at the moment, if we go back into our correlation data, we can see the euro dollar and euro yen are correlated at 51.55 on the hourly chart. We're trading hourly. Let's also make sure the correlation filter is on. And now you see NoTrade Coral come up. This is because basically the correlation is not high enough to satisfy the criteria we set up in the correlation filter, the correlation indicator. So going back to the correlation indicator, notice we've got positive thresholds here of 90 to qualify on this config here. So if I take this down to 50 on the positive side, and then it will only show positives. Just wait for a tick to come in, and let's just change our colours a bit because I can find that difficult to see. So positively correlated colours, let's make those green. So our euro dollar, euro yen correlation is 51.55, which should qualify us. So if we go back to the system, the StatArb V4 system, you'll notice the trade is now active. So I can just, if I just tweak these values very slightly, if I go to 52 on the positive correlation and change that data, sorry, got to select the chart ID that the system is running on, and this is the correlation tool. Go to 52, go back to this chart, which is our ARB chart, and you'll see when you get a tick, the mode is now changed to NoTrade Coral. It's important, if you're making changes to these tools, you've got to make sure that you click on the chart so that basically the selected chart ID is then picked up. And you can see here again on the correlation tool, I've added the chart ID on up here, so chart ID ending 9261, which is indeed this one, and so any changes I make on the interface will only apply to this chart and this ID. So if I move this down to 50 again, assuming correlation is still intact, you'll see that when we get a tick coming in, those changes go through, the mode should go to trade active, which it just has. So beforehand the actual correlation was hard coded in Opulen to be above 80. Now you can adjust the level at which the correlation kicks in using the real-time correlation tool much more effectively. So those are the changes. Please let me know if any of that, if you need any help with any of that. Hopefully that should help you guys out a little bit more. Thanks very much.